The Boy Who Failed 100 Times. The rain tapped softly against the classroom windows as 16-year-old Ethan Parker stared at the test paper resting on his desk. Written in bold red ink at the top of the page was a grade he knew all too well, 42%. Around him, students chatted excitedly about their scores, comparing answers and celebrating their success. Some laughed with relief, while others proudly tucked their papers into their backpacks. Ethan remained silent. His eyes stayed fixed on the number as a familiar feeling settled deep inside his chest. It was disappointment, mixed with frustration, and a growing belief that no matter how hard he tried, success simply wasn't meant for him. This was far from the first time Ethan had failed. In fact, he had failed so many times that he could barely remember all of them. He struggled with mathematics, found science confusing, and often received essays covered in corrections from his teachers. Whenever presentations were assigned, anxiety took over, causing his voice to shake and his confidence to disappear. Watching other students succeed seemed effortless, while every achievement felt painfully out of reach for him. Over time, he began to wonder whether some people were simply born to succeed while others were destined to fall behind. After school, Ethan walked home through the damp streets of his small town. Gray clouds hung low in the sky, mirroring the heaviness he felt inside. He kicked a loose stone along the sidewalk, watching it bounce aimlessly into a puddle. The cold wind brushed against his face as thoughts raced through his mind. No matter how much effort he put into studying, practicing, or preparing, the results always seemed to fall short. It felt as though he was running a race that everyone else had already finished. When Ethan arrived home, his mother was preparing dinner in the kitchen. The warm aroma of food filled the house, but it did little to lift his mood. She noticed the expression on his face immediately and gently asked how school had gone. Ethan hesitated before placing the test paper on the table. His mother examined the score for a moment. To his surprise, she didn't scold him or express disappointment. Instead, she looked at him with calm understanding and said, "Failure only becomes dangerous when it convinces you to stop trying." Ethan sighed. He had heard similar advice before, and it always sounded easier said than done. Looking at the grade, he couldn't help but wonder how many failures a person could endure before giving up became the logical choice. That evening, Ethan sat alone in his room staring at his textbooks. Part of him wanted to close them and forget about school entirely. Another part of him felt angry. Angry at the grade, angry at himself, and angry at the idea that effort didn't seem to matter. After several minutes of frustration, he made a decision. He would focus on improving his mathematics grade. It was the subject he struggled with most, and if he could improve there, perhaps he could improve anywhere. For the next several weeks, Ethan dedicated himself to studying. Every day after school, he spent hours reviewing lessons, solving practice problems, and watching educational videos. While his friends played games or relaxed, Ethan sat at his desk working through equations he barely understood. There were nights when he wanted to quit, but he forced himself to continue. He believed that hard work had to pay off eventually. When the next mathematics test arrived, Ethan felt nervous but hopeful. He had studied harder than ever before and genuinely believed his effort would make a difference. As he handed in the test paper, he imagined finally receiving a passing grade. For the first time in months, he felt optimistic about his future. A week later, the results were returned. Ethan quickly turned over his paper and froze. The score was 45%, 3 points higher than before, yet still a failure. The tiny improvement felt meaningless compared to the amount of effort he had invested. Around him, classmates celebrated grades in the 80s and 90s. Ethan simply lowered his head. The disappointment cut deeper than previous failures because this time he had truly believed things would be different. That afternoon, Ethan sat alone in the school library. He stared blankly at a textbook, pretending to read while replaying the result in his mind. An older man approached his table. It was Mr. Reynolds, the school librarian. Known for his wisdom and quiet kindness, he often noticed students who were struggling. Sitting across from Ethan, he asked if everything was okay. At first, Ethan tried to brush the question aside, but eventually the frustration poured out. He explained the studying, the effort, and the crushing disappointment of failing once again. Mr. Reynolds listened carefully before speaking. "Most people think success belongs to the talented," he said, "but success usually belongs to the people who refuse to quit." Ethan looked unconvinced. The librarian smiled and continued. "Most people fail once and stop. Some fail 10 times and stop. Very few continue after failing 100 times. Those who do often achieve things nobody thought were possible." The words lingered in Ethan's mind long after the conversation ended. That evening, Ethan started a habit that would change his life. He took a small notebook and wrote the words failure number 1 across the first page. Underneath, he described the mathematics test and the lessons he had learned. He decided that every failure from that day forward would be recorded. Instead of trying to forget mistakes, he would study them. Instead of allowing failure to discourage him, he would use it as information. Over the following months, the notebook filled rapidly. Failed tests, awkward presentations, missed opportunities, and rejected applications all found their way onto its pages. Every entry followed the same pattern. Ethan recorded what happened, why it happened, and what he could improve next time. At first, the process felt painful. Seeing so many failures written down made him uncomfortable. Yet something unexpected began to happen. Patterns emerged. Mistakes that once seemed random suddenly revealed lessons. Weaknesses became visible. Areas for improvement became clear. Failure number 31 occurred during a school debate competition. Ethan had practiced his speech repeatedly, but when he stepped onto the stage and saw hundreds of eyes staring back at him, panic took over. His mind went blank. Seconds felt like hours as silence filled the room. Eventually, he stumbled through the remainder of the presentation, finishing near the bottom of the rankings. That evening, he opened his notebook and wrote a lesson beside the failure. He realized he had practiced the speech itself but never practiced handling pressure. The next time, he promised himself he would prepare for both. Failure number 42 arrived when he tried out for the varsity basketball team. For weeks, Ethan trained harder than ever. He woke before sunrise to run, spent afternoons practicing, and pushed himself beyond his limits. When the final team list was posted, his name wasn't there. The disappointment was overwhelming. Yet, instead of quitting basketball altogether, he analyzed the experience. He acknowledged that his fitness had improved significantly but recognized that his technical skills still needed work. The rejection became another lesson rather than a final verdict. As the years passed, Ethan's failures continued to accumulate. Failure number 57 came when a summer internship application was rejected. Failure number 63 occurred during a science competition. Failure number 71 happened when a small online business idea failed to attract customers. Failure number 84 followed another difficult examination. Each setback hurt, but each one also strengthened his resilience. The more he failed, the less power failure seemed to hold over him. By the time Ethan recorded failure number 99, he was no longer the same person who had stared hopelessly at a 42% test score. He had developed discipline, patience, confidence, and persistence. More importantly, he had learned that failure was not the opposite of success. Failure was part of the journey towards success. Every mistake carried a lesson. Every setback carried an opportunity. Every disappointment carried a chance to grow stronger. One quiet evening, Ethan sat in his room flipping through the notebook that had become his companion over the years. Page after page told the story of someone who had been knocked down repeatedly but had always found a reason to stand back up. 99 failures filled its pages. 99 reasons to quit. 99 opportunities to surrender. Yet he had continued moving forward. As he stared at the final blank page waiting for failure number 100, he had no idea that the greatest breakthrough of his life was just around the corner. The journey that began with disappointment was about to reveal a truth that would change everything forever. As Ethan closed the notebook that contained 100 failures, he realized something extraordinary. Those failures were never signs that he was weak. They were proof that he was brave enough to keep going when others would have quit. Every rejection had taught him a lesson. Every mistake had made him stronger. Every setback had prepared him for the success that was waiting ahead. In the end, Ethan discovered that success doesn't belong to the smartest, the fastest, or the most talented. Success belongs to the person who refuses to give up, no matter how many times they fall. And that is why the boy who failed 100 times eventually achieved more than he ever imagined, because he chose persistence over surrender, courage over fear, and growth over comfort. Remember, your failures do not define you. Your decision to keep moving forward does. If this story inspired you, touched your heart, or motivated you to never give up on your dreams, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Zenvoro Mind. Join our community for powerful motivational stories, life-changing lessons, and daily inspiration that helps you unlock your true potential. Your next breakthrough could be just one decision away. Stay strong, stay focused, stay inspired. Zenvoro Mind, where ordinary minds become extraordinary.